It looked like it was going to be a laugher. In the end, it was anything but. But the Wolverines end up getting the victory by 2, and they're going to be ranked come this week in the top 25. Welcome in to the Michigan basketball post-game live show. We're here after every Michigan basketball game, and the Wolverines win this one, and they move to 2-0 in the Big Ten and 8-1 overall. When you say that, if you watch the beginning of this game, Michigan jumped out to a 20-4 lead, and they were cruising, and you're thinking they're going to win this ball game. But then I think you probably heard this before. That's Big Ten basketball, and that was Big Ten basketball. You like to blow teams off the floor and just march and look like you're a battle-tested team that's ready for the NCAA. But if you can win these games while you're still learning and adjusting and coming together and all of this, I would say that that's a great thing to be able to have. And the turnovers, which had improved the last 2 games, Michigan played their best 2 games against Xavier and then on the road against Wisconsin. They got their turnovers. I should say they kept their turnovers down to 12 and 10 respectively in their last 2 games, but they had 11 in the first half. And when you're turning the ball over that many times, of course, you look sloppy and you don't look like a good team. And that lead evaporated, and Iowa actually climbed to a tie in the first half, and Michigan was then just up by 3. But you look in this one, I'll take you to the end. Michigan, you got 3:32 left, and they're up 8. And you just take care of the ball and knock down your free throws. You feel like you can beat anybody in the country up 8 with 3:32. But the Hawkeyes, a couple calls, some tight calls. I mean, they're going to be all over the place, and they were. And then a big 3 by Stanford with 1:40 left, got the lead down to 3. And then, Gale missed a drive. And then there was Iowa was able to tie this game, but then Gale came back. Got to give it to him, came back and made a drive and put Michigan up by 2. But then, Iowa coughed the ball up, and something that Michigan is definitely going to have to work on. Iowa put together a 3/4 court trap, and it gave Michigan all kinds of trouble. I thought that the Hawkeyes would do it even more than they did because it was so effective, but they waited until there was under 30 seconds to go, and they threw that 3/4 court trap. And Danny Wolf, who, if you don't want to say he's the number 1 key, you want to say it's Golden, or you want to whoever else you would say, I would say he's the most important player, Danny Wolf, on this team. He needs to keep his turnovers down. He threw the ball away, and then, of course, Iowa with another 3-pointer that was good, but Michigan was able to, with just 3.2 seconds to go, they ended up saying what it was 4.6, and Gale with another drive, and a goaltend was called, and LaFonso Ellis on the screen, he couldn't tell. It was hard to tell, so there was not irrefutable video evidence. Basket was good. Iowa got the ball up to the front court, called a timeout with 1.5 after they looked at everything. They really didn't get a good shot up. I don't know if it drew iron, maybe a tad bit of iron, but Michigan, would you say they escaped? They hang on? Well, yeah, I think both of those apply. They hang on, they escape, but in the end, they get the 2-point win, 85-81, and you're feeling pretty good if you're a Michigan basketball fan with this team being 8-1 and now being ranked. And they got some tough games coming up, but to get your first 2 Big Ten wins in how they do the schedule, putting it in there in this year before you get to the new year, you start your conference games. All in all, 2 thumbs up for Dusty May and Michigan basketball. That's how I see it. You want to get your feedback in, you can. Some of the notes that I was taking in this ninth game of the season, the Big Ten home opener for Michigan, and the Wolverines were favored by 9.5. And that seemed like a pretty big number to me, but the way Michigan came out aggressive and hitting their shots, it looked like it was going to be an easy cover, getting up by 16 points right out of the gate. But then Iowa came back and they tied it in the first half. Michigan did have a 3-point lead at the break, but you looked at the box score and 11 turnovers for Michigan at the half. And you're thinking, okay, here we go again. You thought maybe that they had been able to correct that. Something clicked in, and it was 2 games. It wasn't just one. It was 2 games where they had it at a reasonable number. But so that was really the only thing. But, you would think that Iowa would make a push and get back in the game. Or they did. And the Hawkeyes were able to take their first lead early in the second half. And then it was the Golden Wolf that ended up getting Michigan the lead and really had Iowa. They were good early, and then they were good in the second half. Talking about Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden, both of those guys, and they get Michigan with a 6-point lead with 5 to go. It ballooned up to 8 with 3:32, and then as we went down in that one possession game where the Hawkeyes drained those couple threes and Michigan had a turnover, but Gale hitting those last 2 shots after missing one with under a minute, and then had the one of those that was the called goaltend, and Michigan able to hang on and get that victory. So that's how it looks with U of M here to be able to get the victory, and they are, as you look at it, 8-1 on the year and 2-0 in the Big Ten. And we'd like to tell you, if you're just watching this after the fact or listening to it on the podcast after the fact, understandable. It's always there for you if you were spending the day watching football. But we do invite you after the game. We're here after every Michigan basketball game. Derek is saying that winning is better than losing. I thought that last shot was going down for Iowa, and my heart was pounding. Yeah, I think they wanted to do better to get it up into the front court with 1.1 when they had, 4-6. I like the idea of calling a timeout if you're the other team, but to take that long and then get it up there where they only have 1.5 seconds, it's pretty much a catch and shoot type situation where, 4.6, if you're able to draw something up, I think they could have got a better shot, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't have called a timeout. If it's over 2 seconds, I think it's a little bit different there. But especially when it's 2, because if you're 2, you're Michigan, and they're definitely going to extend out and not want to give a 3-pointer up. And so if you're over there and you're White Lightning, Fran McCaffrey, I think you draw something up to get that ball inside where it's going to be a little bit easier, where you could tie the game. That's what I thought as I was watching it. But I get what you're saying, holding your breath when the other team has a shot to win it. Of course, a 3 would have definitely done that. That would have been a real heartbreaker for U of M. Mason Blue Lover says, nice win, but it should never have come down to that last shot. Way too many turnovers today. Got to clean that up going forward. Well, that's been the story. If we're saying what's the story of Michigan through 9 games? Well, the story to me is that they're 2 7-footers. You can always play a drinking game because everybody's talking about the 2 7-footers. Put them in the pick and roll, the Golden Wolf. The story is Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden and the rest of the transfers coming together with Dusty May to put this team in the top 25 after 9 games. But right after that, the turnovers. And they talk about it every day in practice. They went 2 games, these last 2 games, and they did clean it up. That's the thing. They did clean it up, and they only had 12 and 10. And that's good. You'd like to be in single digits. You're always looking for something to improve on. But when you're turning it over 18, 19 times a game, or like in this one of 17, You're thinking you got to get those down, and you don't look good, of course, and then you don't. It's not helping you when you're throwing it away to the other team, and they're able to then translate those into points, especially fast break points. But if there's one thing, I'm not making any excuses or anything for Michigan, but they have, when you look at all of their games and the games besides these last two that they look like they turned a corner, it's been the first half where they've just had a double digit turnovers, but then they did clean it up at the half, to use your terminology there, MB lover. And they did clean it up, and they did clean it up in this particular game where they just had 6 in the second half. But that big one by Wolf jumped out at you and jumped out at me when you had just 30 seconds to go in this one. But that's something that they can continue to work on. And this is a team now that you can say you expect them to make the NCAA tournament. They are a dangerous team, and they need their guards to come, to improve their play. And I would also say they need to improve their shooting. You're not going to win too many games when you shoot 20% from downtown and you're casting up 23s. They were 4 of 20 from downtown. Now, they did a good job of the free throw line, 17 of 22, which is 77.3%. And overall, they did a good job field goal percentage-wise, 55.2%. That's good. That might be a season high if I look through it, but that 4 of 20 from downtown really stands out, along with the 11 turnovers in the first half. Eric saying it was like the old Clint Eastwood movie, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I don't know, the good, bad, the ugly, and then escape with a win, and it's all good when you can do that. So that's the thing. They've turned it over a lot, but they've also won the games, which in the end is what you're looking for. I'm going to say, obviously, to that. Let's look through. I've got the box score sitting here. Let's see if some things, as you watch the game, as I watch the game, and we look at the numbers here, if there's something else to take a look at. There was a big moment in this game where Sharon Moore was shown up on the screen, and Sharon pumping up the crowd, and then Sharon also mimicking a flag plant. More flag planting, which got the crowd going and buzzing. You like to see that. And here's a double-double for Vlad, 20 and 11 for the big man, 6 of 8. 6 of 8 from the floor, and he was 8 of 11 at the charity stripe. A big man that could shoot free throws is really nice. Not all 7-footers can step up to the charity stripe and knock them down, and Vlad can do that. Trey Donaldson had a real nice first half. He I think had the highlight of the game where he put one of the defenders on roller skates and broke his ankles on a fast break drive in the first fast break, where he ended up finishing at the rim. 18 points for Trey. Let's take a look at some of the other numbers here. Roddy Gale Jr., there was a time in the first half when he committed his 4th turnover, and it was off of an inbounds that I said I posted on the Maize and Blue Reviews den that he's got to do a better job taking care of the ball. Gale Jr. did not have another turnover after that. Ended up with 17 points, 4 boards, and 5 assists. Also had a steal and was 2 of 2 from the charity line. And, made the last 2 buckets of the game for Michigan. So hopefully he can improve on those careless turnovers. And the same thing with Wolf. He had 4 turnovers. Wolf and Gale Jr. You want to make a case that they're the two go-to players, but let's see them take care of the ball a little bit better, and Michigan's really going to be cooking then. Danny Wolf, the Wolf of State Street, 13 points, 14 boards. So Vlad and Danny Wolf, both with double-doubles in this game. Namari Burnett didn't do much, 2 points and 5 boards. Let's look at the bench. There's Cheddar. He gave him a shot in the arm. Baker's dozen, 13 points, 3 boards, 5 of 6. Nice game for Will Cheddar. That's what you're looking for. Reuben Jones just have not seen it. Supposed to be a defensive stopper. His shot, he threw up 4 threes. None of them were close. I would also say the same thing from a fellow lefty off the bench, Sam Walters, who has struggled from downtown. And he's got a picture perfect shot. And in the early going, you saw a little bit of that, but lately he's just in a funk, and it doesn't look good when it comes down to Walters. And the 3 freshmen, let's see, do we have their minutes in here? We do. LJ Kason came in for 4 minutes. Kason with 5 minutes, Pippen with 4, and Goose Eggs in the scoring, rebound, and assist column. And if you look at this game, Michigan really just went 6 deep. Although I'll say 7 deep. Reuben Jones played 24 minutes, didn't do a whole lot, but Michigan going, and that's what you see. You had an extended bench in the non-conference. You're getting into these conference games, 6-7, tightening up the bench. That's the way it's going to be. So that is the way it went down for Michigan here tonight. Let's see, ROJ saying we got the bigs going now. We need to get the guards to figure out their roles on this team and how to score. And I think you're right about that. But the thing about when you have the bigs, and Michigan's got the bigs, other teams, Michigan's bringing to the table a problem for other teams to deal with. They gotta handle that pick and roll from the 2 big guys. And these 2 guys, they're going to get the other team in foul trouble, and they can go to the free throw line and they can knock them down. As much as these 2 previous games of this one, Danny Wolf, and he's one of the stories. He's a story for Michigan. He's one of the stories in all of college basketball. And I was saying, hey, he's 7 feet and he looked comfortable bringing the ball up. There's not a lot of, we've seen a lot of skilled, you watch basketball, you see a lot of skilled big guys and even 7-footers. There's not many that you're like, you want to see him put the ball on the floor and bring it up. But Wolf looks pretty comfortable doing it. And then today there was at least twice where I was thinking, yeah, maybe they don't want Danny Wolf bringing it up. Maybe get it over to a guard. And he ended up having 4 turnovers in this one. So you're winning, maybe something you live with from what he can do. And normally, he's a 7-footer. He doesn't have a shorter player on him that's looking to, steal the ball. You got another guy you better be like 6'8", 6'9" and up on him. And you have that ability to still bring it up. But it just, there was a little clumsiness to a couple of the times when Wolf was bringing it up. Not every time, but a couple times tonight. So that's it. Derek, making 2 last points here. Let's read them. Gale Jr. is Jekyll and Hyde. 1 minute, he's playing great on both ends of the court. Another time, he looks like a liability. Derek, I'm with you on that. Well said. I think that in the days ahead in the next game, I might steal that from you. I think he is Jekyll and Hyde. But when you got the Wolf of Main Street out there and the Golden Wolf combination that Michigan had going, it adds up and it looks pretty good for the Maize in Blue through 9 games, 8-1. Let's check that upcoming schedule. It is brought to you by the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football and basketball, right here on MichiganRivals.com. You can see that show 3 times a week, coming at you next on Monday on this very feed that you're watching or listening to right now. And with that schedule, Michigan is up next this Tuesday night on ESPN, a 9 o'clock jump against Arkansas. John Calipari's Hogs in the Jimmy V Classic. We looked at these 4 games, 5 games, if you wanted to include Xavier, Wisconsin, Iowa, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Big names, big games. You're thinking if Michigan could go 3-2 in those games, well, they've gone 3-0 so far, so things are looking pretty good for them. They got Arkansas. Michigan will be ranked for that game coming up against the Hogs. And then we'll see these, I got it down here where Michigan was 5-1, so just a couple games ago. And then it's an 8-day break, holiday break for Michigan, when then they'll be down in, I think they play that down in Carolina, the Jumpman Invitational, or they'll be taking on a fellow Jumpman school. Is that the way to say it? Nike school, Jordan school, Jumpman school, the Sooners. A preview of Michigan football's non-conference game next year when Michigan will travel to Norman to take on Oklahoma, maybe with Bryce Underwood as the quarterback in that game. That is to be determined. Oh yeah, Bryce Underwood at the basketball game today. Now this is a great time to be alive if you're a Michigan fan. There's no doubt about that. And this basketball team has been impressive. Not 100% impressive, not I think they're going to win it all impressive. Hey, watch out, this is a Final Four team kind of impressive, but this is a team that with so many newcomers and a new coach that has a lot to work on, and yet with all of that, they have only lost 1 game. And so to have 8 wins and 1 loss, to talk about anything negatively seems like it's overdoing it, because you get back to that thing where you say, well, through 9 games, if I would have told you that they'd be 8-1, you'd say, all right, you'd give it the, okay, let's do it. And that's what they were able to do. So that is going to do it here. We'll talk with you on Monday, and we'll be diving into the portal, the offensive coordinators, all of that kind of stuff when it comes to football. And we'll be talking a little basketball as well, because it is that time of year. Michigan wins it 85-83. They'll take on Arkansas coming up next Tuesday night, and we'll be with you after that game. Thanks everybody for watching, and have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you all around the Maize and Blue Review on the Den. Join us over there.